Country is something else?
I think so. Different leaf, I think. Something. You know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I always try to figure what tree it is.
Ladies, you, between the three of you, probably enjoy a perspective on everything we've done as a company and the phenomenon that the product that Walt started has become in the world that no one else in the world has. Could you just tell us, maybe starting with you, from your point of view, how it feels to sit where you're sitting today, having been part of this from the very first idea, from the very first inkling?
Quite wonderful. It's a wonderful thing to see all of this, and each time we come back, there's more. You know, it's just beautiful. Now it couldn't be any better. I don't know how. I thought that when they did the Empress Lily, I told Dick, "You can't do anything better than this," and they did. See, here it is. I think it's just beautiful. Every place we looked, every little thing is just, even this surrounding here, it's just so beautiful. That and this.
Could you go back and tell us, maybe compare your feelings about Epcot Center, for instance, with what it felt like opening day at Disneyland?
At Disneyland?
Uh-huh.
That was really something. It was a beautiful thing and a big adventure for Walt and for all of us. And it was almost a dust hole on the opening day. But it was wonderful. It was the start of it, and everything went wrong. All of the equipment wasn't working, and it was really pretty bad. Walt stayed out overnight. I was home, and I heard all these things that were happening out there, you know. But it turned out to be a beautiful place, too.
How about war stories from the next generation? What do you have any remembrance of that time in 1955?
Just the reviews of Disney's Folly. Some brilliant critic.
we run into those.
Yeah.
Well, how about Epcot Center? I know it must have been a daily part of your life for the last 15 or 20 years. Knowing it from the inside out, is the reality what you would have wanted to see?
I don't really know it that well. I never did it, and it was just mind-boggling. Well, the concept, and then a year ago, was it, we're down here flying around in a helicopter, or a year and a half ago?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember Mother talking about how Dad would come back from the side of Disneyland and say, "Boy, we're really moving dirt around." And when I saw those big machines moving dirt around here, I knew what he meant. And there's an excitement of just about seeing that recontouring of a piece of land.
He loved to move dirt.
It's impolite to ask a lady, and I won't, but I was born in 1954. In fact, I was born 1 year, 1 month, and 1 day before Disneyland was born. And when you're my age, you grew up with Walt Disney as a hero. That perspective makes it different for us folks that are coming up in the next generation, that are, with any luck, going to inherit the responsibility for all of this. Can you tell us anything that might be a piece of advice that maybe we ought to know, that since we didn't have Walt here to lead us personally, that you could pass on to us?
I think you're doing very well. I don't think I could give you any advice. I don't know how the organization is carried on like it has. I think it's just beautiful. I don't think we could give you any advice on that.
Here's the loaded question. And I've done this to everybody in the company that we've interviewed in the last 2 months, but
just so you don't ask me my age.
I promise. I promise. We'll take you one at a time, maybe, on this one. And the question is, from each of your points of view, you, your father, you, your husband, and you, your grandfather, would he have liked this?
He would have loved it. He would have loved it, and we think of that all the time, that he's missed the whole thing, even the opening. He wasn't here, you know. So he's missed the whole thing, and it's so grand. He'd be very happy.
you've made a lot about, well, not a lot, but that it is not the original concept of what Epcot meant. And I think it would have evolved at this very definitely. I can't see how he would have done it any differently, because everything I see here reminds me of him standing in the American Adventure and that wonderful vocal group singing there. And all of a sudden I got this image of Dad, and he was a great sentimentalist. You know, he would watch the flag lowering at Disneyland every evening they were down there, and tears would go down his cheeks, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I could say I had an image of him standing there listening to this group with tears coming down his cheeks. I know he would have been there doing that. And this is all so much in character of his curiosity and excitement about everything, and the future, and yet history and the world, Europe.
But the thing that is so wonderful is because he had this vision before he died, and it's been carried on so completely. That's what would make him feel very good. He used to, when we'd go out to eat, he'd take a paper napkin and he'd tell me about, we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and have all these countries come in, and it's happened, which I think is wonderful.
Is it Jenny?
Yeah.
You're sitting in a strange seat here. We're going to use you as a representative of today's folk, and perhaps a little more objective point of view. Your feedback from your own friends and feedback from people that you interact with on our product in general, but especially in Epcot Center, what is it? And have you heard anything different, or do you have to approach it in a different way than maybe your mom or your grandmother did?
I don't think so. I'm.
If it isn't good, you hadn't better tell us.
I think everything's just as wonderful as they do.
There's a lot of excitement, though, don't
yeah,
you think?
oh, so much. And talking with friends last night, they just think this is it, you know. I mean, it's fantastic.
What would you like to see, just personally speaking, you're here as a guest, what would you like to see us do now? What do we do now that we've gotten this far? What's the next thing?
Nothing. I think this is far enough. I think it's just beautiful. You've covered so much territory that it tires you to go from over there to here. And I don't think you could do any better. I don't think there's anything. Do they have any ideas you're going to do something else?
I have a few.
It's a wonderful, beautiful physical thing, but without the right people in it, you walk through it and that's it. And I think the quality and the kind of people that are working here, you know, in the shops, everywhere, the enthusiasm, the friendliness, the whole feeling, I think that's what you've got to keep working at.
And the fact that
Wonderful.
they've done this, not gradually, they've done it in a hurry, and still they've kept that same quality. I think that's wonderful.
Entertainment.
We haven't any criticism at all.
No, just
That's nice to hear. Overall, we're stretching out in another area, of course. We're going to open a Disneyland in Japan.
Yeah.
That has to feel odd. Feels odd to me, and I don't even have your perspective on it.
I didn't even want him to do the one in Japan. I thought this was enough. I thought this was beautiful, and we did this, and the one out on the coast. But I understand it's going to be very nice. I hope it is. But I think, I thought this was enough.
I think it
I
had
was
to be
ready
done
to quit
also.
a lot of times.
You think Japan had to be done?
Well, you walk around here and around Disneyland, and most of the people that go are Japanese.
That's right.
Well, of course, what Japan leads you to, if you stretch that out, is maybe there's a worldwide need for this. Could you ever see a world that had a Disney outpost, for the lack of a better word, in this outdoor recreation business all over the world, one in Europe, one in South America?
I think it should all come from here. Get all the recognition all over the world from this place. That's just my idea. I didn't want him to do it, but
No,
this came up after Walt was gone, though, didn't it? This
we've always been very conservative. I think Mother always sort of wanted Dad to say, just, it's nice the way